It's a me, Hankio. Welcome everybody to Suckprofessor with James. What's your name?
Nope, you got it right.
Jamesio. We're talking Luigi O. See, hello everybody. We're doing Super Mario review the movie. James, what's the movie called?
Isn't it called the Super Mario Brothers movie?
There you go. I haven't seen it. Now, just to be clear, James has seen it though. James, did you saw it on the opening day, right?
Not opening day, but opening week.
Okay. That's fine. No worries. It's been the wait of a lifetime, I'd say. But first, welcome everybody. Hope you're doing well. Check out my other show, Winners and Losers, link in the description, and other ways to support if you'd like. Beyond that, though, anybody in Los Angeles needs a cat, I've got a cat. Free cat, only $250. So come hit me up. Kind of kidding, but also not really. I do actually have a cat I need to find a forever home for. That's what you say when you're if you have a child you were trying to get rid of, you wouldn't be like, my kid needs a forever home. Yeah, it turns out you got to be a cat person to have a cat, and we rescued a cat. We found a stray cat. I fed her. We cared greatly for this animal. It's causing me all kinds of stress because I don't really want to have to solve cat emergencies all day long. So anyway, speaking of cat emergencies, let's just get to the review. Graphics editing. James, would you like to lead us off?
Yes.
I know that this follows up on the heels of the first Super Mario starring Bob Hoskins, the live-action 1992 thriller. I don't know if it was 92. I have no idea. I assume this is just a continuation of that story, right? With the same actors, just all like 40 years old, kind of like Picard.
Yes, and they're wearing CGI costumes, but you know that deep down within, John Leguizamo is in there.
The spirit of Leguizamo lives. He's in The Power on Netflix, actually. I've been watching that show.
Oh, very cool.
All right, so since I haven't seen it, I don't really want to talk too much. I'll ask some questions. Go ahead, James. Tell us.
So, do you want the general beat by beat? Do you want spoilers, or how do you want to frame this?
Okay, first let's do a really quick 2-minute, no spoilers. If someone who hasn't seen the game or hasn't ever been a Super Mario fan, I guess that's my first thought and my first thread was, do you have to have been a fan or a player, even a casual player of the game for this movie to work? Let's say you've never heard of Super Mario Bros. You're Dianne Feinstein. You just woke up from a coma in the U.S. Senate, and they're going to take you to the movies. Will you still have fun?
I think you will. The movie does a good job of building the universe for people who are not familiar with it, but there are certain moments during the movie that if you are not familiar with the game and the characters and the power-ups and things like that, there will be some confusing moments for you. But overall, I think anyone can just walk in and find some level of enjoyment from it. It's a very quick-paced movie, as you would expect, because it's designed for children. But there's elements in there that kind of cater back to the people like us who grew up with the Mario Brothers back in 1987 or so. There's references to the original Jumpman from Donkey Kong. There's they use
whoa. Who's Jumpman? Is that Mario?
Yeah, that's Mario's original name.
Oh, so before is that his first appearance in any game in game history?
Yes. Absolutely, in Donkey Kong, he was Jumpman, and then as the legend says, Nintendo of America, I think it was, had come over and they were renting this large warehouse space as their company headquarters, and apparently they were behind on their rent, and their landlord gave them a reprieve, and they paid him back in full. But to honor him for being so kind, they named Jumpman after the landlord, whose name was Mario.
Wow, was he an Italian plumber with a heart of gold? And a great jump and a nice booty from all the jumping?
That part I don't know.
Oh. Wow, so Jumpman. That's funny.
I would like to think. Yeah. So, that was a really, really cool thing. Yeah. And I guess the other thing, without getting too much into spoilers, I would say that a lot of the controversy initially was in the casting. Oh, no, Chris Pratt can't be Mario. So right. I will say that the accent, the "it's a me, Mario," that kind of thing, that gets addressed almost immediately out of the gate, and I think they do it in a very decent manner that didn't leave me questioning their decision making. I was completely fine with it. They kind of make a joke about that, and that's why you get a more natural Brooklyn sounding Mario in the movie as opposed to the bubbly, high-pitched Mario that we all know from the game.
What is this place? Right. Yeah. Where? Yeah. Okay. So they didn't disappoint your the hearts and minds and ear canals of fans too much by shifting away,
No,
because it
but
would have been hard to just have him going, we got
right.
to advance in the plots. How do we make the plot to go advance now? It's a 90-minute movie.
But they do something great where Mario's father in the movie is voiced by the man who actually voices Mario and has voiced Mario since the very beginning.
Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
Hello, Mario. It's time to get a job. I got a real job. You quit running around with your cousin, you fucking loser. I
Mushrooms
can
are a
sort of
dangerous
do
thing.
Morgan Freeman. I think if I practice, I could probably nail that. But mushrooms are what?
A dangerous thing.
Yeah. Don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Just do
Well, hope. Yeah.
take the pills. Okay, so fine. For non-spoilers, yeah, okay, you might enjoy it. Better than some kids' movies. Better than that fucking Power Rangers.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think anyone going into it expecting a deep and engrossing story and character development and massive arcs and
Yeah.
you're not going to get that because it's a movie about Mario. It's your story is paper thin. Your characters are not going to be fully fleshed out.
Right.
That's just it's what you expect. You don't go into a Taco Bell expecting a filet mignon,
Exactly.
but it's good fun.
Yes, you don't expect a filet mignon. You expect a flaming bunion.
Yes.
But butthole. You expect to have
Yes.
diarrhea and pain.
Yeah.
So
And,
okay,
yeah, and it delivers.
and it delivers. That's what it's for. Where else? Where America? Okay. All right. So let's get to the spoilery part. So everybody worried about spoilers. All right, so yeah, it is based on the great children's hit. Do they? But there's all this lot of Mario lore and stuff. So do they kind of reference lots of other stuff? Is there a Paper Mario? I remember Paper Mario was a big.
Sadly, they don't touch on Paper Mario as far as I can tell. They
Fuck!
do hit on the original Donkey Kong. I believe they touch on Mario Odyssey a tiny bit. There's Luigi's Mansion kind of thrown in there from a reference perspective. Mario Kart plays a big role. So
Yeah.
they really do kind of pull from various facets of the overall franchise to tell their story.
Awesome. Which okay, so tell us the story. Give us. You don't have to go super beat by beat necessarily, but
Okay, so from what I remember, it opens up with. Did you ever watch as a kid the like early '90s or late '80s? I forget exactly the timetable to it, but the Mario Brothers Super Show, where it starts out, "We're the Mario Brothers and plumbing's our game," and
Hey, paisanos, it's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show!
With the Mario Brothers and plumbing's a game.
and
no,
that
I
whole
didn't
theme
remember
song.
that.
Okay, so the very opening of it is the Mario and Luigi in a commercial. I don't.
Now who's gonna stop me? We're the Mario Brothers and plumbing's a game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. When you
think it's a commercial initially, but they're saying it's a me Mario, it's a me Luigi, and they're doing the stereotypical Italian accents that you know from the game.
Yeah.
And then it pulls back and it shows Mario and Luigi standing back watching the television commercial, and they're speaking in like normal voices. Like, do you think the accents were a little bit too much? Oh yeah, I think it's good. And that kind of sets the tone. It's like, okay, they're not going to be talking like that through the whole movie because they were putting the accents on to sell their business.
I see.
And then you go and and then the whole first half of the movie is just Mario and Luigi living at home with their extended family around them, their father, their uncle, their aunts, and so forth, kind of talking down on them, saying, "Oh, you should really get a job. You shouldn't go into business for yourself. You're not going to be able to, succeed on your own as a plumber. You're a bunch of losers." And they're all kind of despondent about that.
Okay. Interesting. So it starts it starts as sort of in a regular life kind of thing. They don't immediately run to him, jumping down a green pipe and having an adventure.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, cool.
And then it does show them that they go to their first plumbing job into this like very affluent, wealthy house. They make a big mess. The dog in the house chases them around, busts up the bathroom. But it does show that they know what they're doing from a plumbing perspective. But it shows that going into business for themselves is not going to really be an easy success for them.
Perhaps their talents are better used somewhere else. Maybe.
Right.
It would be funny
So
if they like one of their clients in this first bit is the couple from Up, the guy and his
yep.
wife, but they like cause somehow for the wife to get poisoned, and they're the reason why she dies in Up. That'd be funny. They actually it'd be funny if they threaded it like that. If only I were writing movies. Okay, go ahead. Keep going, James.
Okay, so their big through line is that we want to be important to Brooklyn. We want to save Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden in the news, I believe it was a news story, there was this massive water main explosion or something in downtown Brooklyn.
Uh-huh.
So they decide, okay, well, we're plumbers. We're just going to go down there and we're going to solve the problem. And you got to suspend your disbelief a little bit, because you would expect that if something of that happens, the city would already have contracted plumbers there, but they don't really touch on that. It just shows the Mario Brothers go there, and suddenly they're in this subterranean, massive sewer system with pipes and ladders and scaffolding everywhere, and they're in way over their heads. They don't really know what to even make of it.
So it's not like it's not like there were some other city plumbers, or just like, who the fuck are these guys? Get the hell out of here. Hey, it's a union job. Get the fuck out of here.
Right. That's what I was looking for. I was like, how did they get the contract? How did they get accepted there? How were they allowed to go down there? But it's a kids movie.
Yeah.
They don't
get the municipal politics of private utilities and city contracting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just down there with their little tiny plumbing belts and little workshop. They didn't have the equipment to work down there. But anyway, they end up getting sucked into this massive green Mario pipe down there. And then you have this segment where they're flying like Thor and Loki through the Bifrost in this like a rainbow portal. They don't know where they're going. But what it basically happens is they get separated.
Okay.
So one of the pipes that has Mario in it connects to like this other pipe that's like, flowery and happy and glowing daylight and all that. And the other one, which has Luigi in it, goes to this lava-infused hellscape, which you can imagine is Bowser's Land. So from that point onward, you follow Luigi, who's being chased by Koopa skeletons in this horror thing, which kind of works because Luigi in Luigi's Mansion is always like the cowardly, scared character who tiptoes around with shaky legs and chattering teeth, all that kind of thing. Mm-hmm, so he's being pursued by the Koopas until he eventually gets caught by the Koopas and is brought before Bowser. And while that's going on, Mario is traversing through the Mushroom Kingdom. He runs into Toad. He goes through the city and sees all the other mushroom creatures, which are not all called Toad. Toad is Toad's name.
Oh.
And
sorry, can I ask you a question? Is Toad like a regular, or is he a freak on his planet? Are they all Toads?
Well, they're all Toads, but Toad is personality-wise, he's a bit different. He's like Toad from I forget the name of the game, but there's like Toad where he's an explorer. He's got a big backpack on. He has pots and pans. He's sort of like a very eccentric, outgoing, adventurous Toad. Whereas the other ones are like city dwellers and just members of the kingdom that are working under the Princess Peach's castle.
Yeah. Okay. I think you got to give me that. I think I dropped that glowing thing. Can you give me the frost resistance potion that's in your?
No, it's mine.
Ah, yes. It's our lighting. You don't steal from the set there. No, it was my fault. Okay, so Toad is sort of part of this whole universe. And all right, so keep going.
Right.
I keep interrupting.
Yeah. So as Toad is bringing Mario through the kingdom, you see certain things like little kiosks and things saying antiques, and you look in there and there's like the original hammer from Donkey Kong that Mario or Jumpman uses to bust barrels and things. So there's a nice callback in that sense.
Yeah.
And the other thing that was a little bit jarring to me is that they use a lot of 80s music in the soundtrack in addition to remastered and remixed versions of Mario themes. So there's like Take On Me and No Rest in Brooklyn or whatever that, or I forget exactly what the lyrics are, but a lot of throwback songs that kids these days watching the movie will probably not recognize or understand. But that's all cool. It works because Mario was a kid of the 80s.
Yeah, and kids these days are used to having brains that don't work. It's one of the nice things. One of the nice things about being a kid with a phone.
So Mario tells Toad what happened, that he got separated from his brother, and he saw his brother go into a world of lava. And Toad says, "Oh no, he must be in Bowser's kingdom. He must be dead, or he's gone for. But we can save him. So in order to save him, we need to go and talk to Princess Peach. She'll know what to do." So Toad takes Mario to Peach's castle, but of course there's a scene where he has to go through a whole bunch of different pipes and get sucked through tubes, and he's exhausted and getting beaten around, because this is not the Mario that we know. This is Mario's first exposure to this world and these dynamics. So he's very much so inexperienced and untrained.
Has he gotten any
He's
coins yet?
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that, because when he first goes into the kingdom, he sees this big long line of toads, and they're all jumping up and hitting these question blocks, and coins are popping out of it, and they're collecting the coins.
Nice.
And one of them drops a coin. I think Mario picks it up and hands it back to him. So technically, yes, he touches a coin by that point.
Okay, well, that's one of the first things you do in the game, is what I'm thinking of.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so he's gone through the journey to meet the princess, which we all do to meet the princesses in our lives.
Right.
We have to traverse pits of snakes and plumbing mishaps. And now what? Then what happens? So Toad's introduced him to Peach.
Yeah, he gets to Princess Peach's castle, and it's exactly the same castle that you remember from Mario 64. It just looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But the Toad guards won't just let him waltz in there, so he has to kind of take action and bust his way in and run from the guards until he eventually gets to see Peach, at which points they tackle him, and then she agrees to hear him out and listen to him. So essentially, she agrees, I think, to help. But first, she has to prepare him for the journey ahead. So he has to go and do this massive obstacle course that she first does on her first try, jumping over bullet bills, flipping between blocks. She jumps and hovers around with her skirt, just like she did in Super Mario Brothers 2, which was a nice callback to that.
Yeah.
And at the very end, grabs the flagpole and slides down, just like in the original Mario Brothers game.
Fun.
And then Mario has to try and do it. But of course, he dies immediately and respawns and dies and respawns. And she shows him eat a mushroom, you'll grow big and strong. You get hit, you shrink back down. So they introduce power-ups through that training montage. And eventually, day turns to night, night turns to morning, and so forth. He's been at it a long time, but eventually he finally makes it.
So she's basically his Ra's al Ghul, right?
Yes, she's basically training him.
Yeah, this is the same plot as Batman Begins. Sounds like.
Yeah, and at this point, I think it's at this point, it's been about a week or two since I've seen it, but I think at that point she mentions to him that she completed that on her first try, but don't feel bad because I was raised here. And later on, you find out that she wasn't born there; she came there as a child. So theoretically, she could be from Mario's world, but if she is, she has no recollection of that. The Toad creatures took her in when she emerged from the pipe and raised her as their leader and as their princess.
So are they?
But she is.
Go ahead. She's from another.
No, she is far from helpless. She's not a damsel in distress. She absolutely kicks butt.
Okay. Are they setting up this to further explain her origins later in the movie? Is that why they present that?
Well,
like, is she?
I think
she was the homecoming queen of 1974 or something.
They never really flesh it out any more than that.
Okay, that's fine. I was just wondering if they were foreshadowing more later plot reveals or character development.
I think there will be more movies. I mean, I'd be crazy to say that there won't be, and they'll probably end up doing something like that. But there are some opportunities that they just don't take on that journey because they're trying to kind of progress the story quickly.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, it's fine. Like you said, it's not no little girls in red dresses running around in this movie. Oh, James, give me my hammer back. Why is it giving you all my stuff when I drop it? Not that. Yeah, and the hammer. Thank you. Okay, so Mario's proven his mettle. He's now he's leveled up. He's now Batman, back from the high monastery ninja training academy, and ready to kick some butt. Does he understand his mission? Is he just a go along to get along guy, or is he like a real true believer? Is he a fanatic? Is he actually being like, finally, my life has purpose. I have a newfound sense of meaning, and I'm gonna just I'm gonna make the world better for this hot chick that wants me to do stuff. I will do anything. If a woman smiles at me, I will run into traffic and kill myself. That's how much I love attention from women. Go ahead, James.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Mario's motivation really has very little to do with Peach. There are scenes that you see where it's Mario and Luigi as young children, and Mario is always the one that goes in and sticks up for his little brother. He's Luigi's savior. He never leaves his brother behind. He's always there to save him. So his driving force is not a romance with Peach. It's I have to save my brother. And at this point, Luigi is being suspended in a cage over this giant pit of lava, along with the penguin people from the Ice Kingdom, which I forget the name of, because in part of the opening of the movie, you see Bowser's entire castle, which is this giant lava floating fortress with his head on it, go to this kingdom. And if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the scene where they come out and they just start throwing snowballs at him. They're just like bouncing off his face, and he's standing there deadpan. And they say, "That is but a taste of our power. Do you want to see our full force?" It's pretty funny.
Okay.
But he just breathes fire in their whole castle, melts their castle, and takes their star from him, which the star you would recognize from Mario 64, one of the 120 stars. But this movie doesn't really tell you what the star does or the significance of it or whether there's more than one star. It simply focuses on this is the star.
Okay.
And Bowser is always saying, with this star, I will rule the kingdom.
Got
So
it.
we don't really know what it is, but we do find out that Bowser's motivation is that he wants nothing more in the world than to marry Princess Peach and to use his star to rule with her. And because he's voiced by Jack Black, he goes into many musical numbers where he's at a piano playing and singing about his love for Peach and how with this star we're going to rule.
Okay. So Bowser is motivated by is he crazed out of his love for Peach, or does he just see her as like a vessel through which he can gain further power? Do you understand my question?
He is
like,
yes, he is. He doesn't need her to rule the land. He is infatuated with her. He wants to have her be his queen by his side.
I see. I've added some stage lights.
Ah,
All right.
but so the issue is that he's got Luigi in his custody, and he knows through the grapevine, through his various Koopas around the world and so forth, that Princess Peach now has this other character with her, and he's concerned that Mario and Peach will form a relationship which will threaten his ability to woo Peach and to marry her. So he is holding Luigi as his trump card because he wants to have one up on Mario. He wants to go in and annihilate the Mushroom Kingdom to get rid of Mario, to get rid of his competition, so he and Peach can be together.
Does Peach seem receptive to that sort of move? Because that's an awfully aggressive neg to destroy the entire kingdom. And like, is she just being like, well, okay, I guess so. Hey, big boy, you won me over. How does that work?
Oh, no. So she is not thrilled about it.
Okay.
I don't know whether at this point she knows that he has a marriage intent with her, but she does find out that Bowser has the star and he is coming to the Mushroom Kingdom. And she knows that they stand absolutely no chance against him. So they have to find some sort of help. They need to unite the clans to have the power to withstand Bowser. So knowing what you know about the Mario universe, who might she reach out to for help?
Not Toadstool. Oh shit! I destroyed the fuck. Who might she reach out to for help?
If you wanted muscle,
Goro.
I don't think Outer World and Mortal Kombat is part of the Mario universe. Although that would be pretty cool.
Hold on. I did play enough Mario. Donkey Kong.
There you go.
Really? He's the driver. He's one of the drivers in Mario Kart.
Right, and Donkey Kong is always adversarial towards Mario. So they don't have any history at this point in the story, but they're very much so standoffish. They don't really want to have a lot to do with the Mushroom Kingdom. So Peach and Mario go there as emissaries.
That's two alphas. Two alphas, just like you and me, James. We're both alpha males. Can't have two alphas near each other, or there will be destruction, and then only one alpha. Me.
Yes. So they go there to try and solicit aid from Donkey Kong, and as you would imagine, Cranky Kong is the king of the Donkey Kong realm. There's a little bit of like a Mario Kart-esque type a rival where they are driven through the whole Kong kingdom in this cart and delivered to Cranky Kong. Cranky Kong being voiced by Fred Armisen, who was a little annoying, I have to admit. But he says, okay, you know what? We will help you, but only if your champion, Mario, beats my son in combat. His son turns out to be Donkey Kong, voiced by Seth Rogan.
Oh, okay. Is he doing an accent, or is he just like, hey, it's Seth Rogan? That's my Seth Rogan.
You know, it's me, Seth Rogan.
Yeah.
It's just like that.
He's got a funny laugh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he kind of disappears. You wouldn't necessarily know it was Seth Rogan unless you knew or were really listening for it. So I thought that worked pretty well. The only character I would say that every time this character spoke, I immediately did not see the character, but I heard the voice actor, and that was Luigi Charlie Day. It's like, but I'm a big fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, so his voice just kind of is hard for me not to latch onto.
That's a pretty distinctive voice.
Yeah, but I think he does a fine job.
Right.
But anyway, you get this big montage of Donkey Kong and Mario in this big arena, and in the very beginning, Donkey Kong is just like beating the crap out of Mario, just like pummeling him in the face, throwing him around, slamming him against walls. Mario stands absolutely no chance.
Well,
but
he's not a helpless mushroom. Mario can only beat up the weakest of all creatures, a mushroom, the most defenseless animals on the planet. Fucking bully.
So this is one of the first moments where if you know the games, you will have a little bit of forewarning as to what's about to happen, because Cranky Kong, to level the playing field, has put a series of power-up blocks around the arena, which Donkey Kong can't use and doesn't need to use because he's already infinitely more powerful than Mario. So Mario has to dodge and weave and jump around to try and get to these power-ups so that he can defeat Donkey Kong. And one of the first ones he finds, he pops it open, and this little tiny blue mushroom comes out. So,
I know that one.
Familiar?
Yeah, that's that puts you to the front of the line.
Huh?
That's the blue shell. The blue shell attacks the leader. I'm talking about Mario Kart.
No, this is the blue mushroom.
Yeah. What does the blue mushroom do?
So the blue mushroom, I think, it was first introduced in one of the Super Mario DS games or something like that. I forget exactly where it first appeared, but it's a mushroom that shrinks you down to a minuscule size.
That does now ring a bell. Yes, I remember.
Right. So Mario takes that, and suddenly he thinks he's about to be powered up. He gets all confident, and instead he's now the size of a flea in front of Donkey Kong and has to get power and grows back to his normal size. So eventually what happens is Mario does get to another power-up, and it turns out to be the Mario cat suit, which is from another one of the Super Mario platformer games that came out in the past 7, 8, 9 years. And he uses that ability to kind of flip around and claw Donkey Kong in the face. He's moving so agile and quickly that Donkey Kong can't catch him, can't hit him. So he uses that to subdue Donkey Kong. He wins the fight, and the Kong family agrees to go to the aid of the Mushroom Kingdom.
James,
because I think Prince.
I just got to interrupt. I had the audio a little goofy, so I'm just making a change right now, just noting it for the audience. I might have been making it impossible for them to hear you. So it should be better now that I've switched things up.
Okay.
Even though I tested earlier. I'm new at all this stuff, everybody. Only been trying for 10 years. All right, so go ahead now. Woodland Squirrel Mario got the power up, and then he's kicking ass. And now Donkey Kong has realized that he's perhaps been bested by agility and dexterity rather than brute strength.
Right. So they now have an issue where they have the Kong army, and they need to get back to the Mushroom Kingdom quickly because they know Bowser is already headed there. So they need a shortcut. They need a way to get there before Bowser does so that they can essentially cut him off at the pass. So in rolls the Donkey Kong army with their mechanics and their giant warehouse of carts. They have Mario go in and Toad go in and Peach go in, and they're flipping the different options of wheels and bodies for cars and gliders, just like you would when you're playing Mario Kart 8. So they're building their custom cars. Of course, Toad picks this massive SUV, which is hilarious. Peach picks a motorcycle, and Mario picks a standard pipe car. So things start going well. They start busting out down the road in their big formation with all the Donkey Kong guys behind him and so forth. Until in their rear view, the Koopa army comes up behind them and starts running into him, throwing shells and bananas, knocking out various of the good guys, and a big like Mad Max Fury Road scene kicks off. And eventually, right before that, they jump over the end of the road, and Mario's like, "Oh, I know the road is going away. We're going to die." But they really just land on Rainbow Road. So suddenly they're on Rainbow Road, and this big battle royale starts kicking off.
Rainbow Road is sort of like, I'd say everybody loves Rainbow Road, right? I mean, it's like the most difficult. I don't know if it's the most, but like everybody hates it, but it's also such a cool part of Mario Kart, right?
Yeah,
it's just such
one of the more
such a great set piece.
Right.
Beloved.
It is dangerous because there's no walls. You can go straight off the cliff, and all that. So they use a lot of Mario Kart stuff for this segment. But at the very end, Mario is kind of being antagonized by this very large cart that seems to be the boss of all the carts, being driven by this tiny little turtle with a blue shell on his back. So this is a part where if you don't know Mario very well and you don't know Mario Kart, this will fly right over your head. I know you already know it because you already referenced it earlier on, some unintentional foreshadowing. So
I'm a Mario scholar, well recognized.
Yeah. So after going back and forth and having his cart destroyed and falling off and landing on top of another cart and getting crushed and eventually Mario prevails and the large cart that was pursuing him gets disabled. But then the little turtle stands up and says, "I'm not beaten yet, blue shell." And as if you don't know anything, you'll be like, well, okay, yeah, he's got a blue shell on his back, but what does that mean? Is he just saying his own name? I mean, I don't understand that. But what he's really saying is that in the Mario Kart universe, a blue shell is an item that you only get if you're significantly far behind, and it is a seeker shell that goes out and targets the person who's in first place and hits him with a pretty big explosion. So what ends up happening is the blue shell goes out. Make a long story short, the track gets destroyed. The Kong army and everyone falls down into a pit. Bowser's army captures everybody. But I believe Princess Peach and Toad, I want to say, don't fall down. They escape and they take their motorcycle back to the Mushroom Kingdom to warn all the citizens that Bowser is coming. Their attempt failed. The attempt to stop them failed, and they need to evacuate the city for their own safety.
Yeah.
So to jump ahead a bit, it basically ends up.
Hold on. At this point in the movie, though, are you like on the edge of your seat? Are you just like, oh my god, this is so exciting? I have to.
Well, it's not. I mean, not particularly, because everything is happening so fast. You don't really have time to breathe because it says beat, 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 beat. There's really every scene feels like it could use an extra couple of minutes of exposition or dialogue or character building or something like that. But again, if you do that, you're going to lose the kids, and your kids are your primary audience. So it's one of those movies. It feels frustrating because you want a little bit more, and it feels like they stop short just about the time they're about to dive into that kind of thing.
Yeah, and they don't do sex scenes anymore in movies. They used to just have a sex scene, like the two main characters would get it on or something like that. You know, we've all seen You've Got Mail or When Harry Met Sally. Do you feel like the show would have been improved if there had some hardcore, nothing graphic like a genital, but like, some romping?
Well, there is a massive Toad orgy scene.
Well, those are spore reproducers. Okay, they are just clouds of floating. I interrupted the comment. Go ahead. So now that's skipping ahead a little bit.
Yeah. So basically, I could be getting this wrong. I don't believe that Mario got captured. He is off on his own. And that's right. He gets rescued by Donkey Kong. So he's with Donkey Kong. Princess Peach is with Toad, and the whole Kong army is now in those cages hovering over the lava with Luigi and with with the penguins and the other captives that Bowser has taken over time. So it cuts back to the Mushroom Kingdom. Princess Peach and Toad are there. Bowser's giant floating fortress rolls in. And he lands and says, you know what? I am going to kill Luigi. I'm going to kill Mario, and I'm going to destroy the entire Mushroom Kingdom unless you agree to marry me. So
That-
begrudgingly, she agrees to do that. And it cuts to a scene where she's coming out at the wedding. She's got her bouquet of flowers. She's in her dress and all that kind of stuff.
She just is she agreeing to save everybody's life, or is she actually she's doing this to sacrifice for the greater good?
Well, both. She's.
I guess. I mean, yeah, both. Yeah.
Because the alternative is that if she doesn't, he's going to kill everybody.
Man,
so
I don't like this guy's moves.
Yeah. so basically, she comes walking out. They're about to, come down the aisle and all that, and I think she pulls out from under the bouquet another power up, which is ice power. Her dress turns blue, and she starts just absolutely annihilating all the Koopas. She freezes Bowser, and it pulls back to Mario and Donkey Kong arriving on the scene, and they just look up at the platform up there, and all you see are these giant blue flashes of her using her power and just,
whooping ass.
Yeah, exactly. Not being the damsel in distress, which I thought was really cool. Luigi is the damsel in distress in this movie.
As are all middle brothers.
Yeah.
Maybe they had a third. I don't know.
Yeah. So eventually she gets hit. She loses her power. She has to kind of fall back on Mario. So if I recall correctly, it ends up with Bowser firing an enormous bullet bill. And he is going to shoot the bullet bill at the Mushroom Kingdom. It's basically like a nuclear bomb. Right. And it's coming straight down towards Peach's castle. Mario grabs his Tanuki power, which I believe Tanuki is the Japanese word for raccoon. So he's flying around with his raccoon tail. He tries to pull a Superman and go underneath the bullet bill to stop it from going. Of course, it's not doing anything because he's like the size of a flea compared to the size of this giant bomb. So he goes up and just starts whacking it in the eyeball to get its attention. It sees him, stops short of hitting the castle, turns towards Mario, and now you've got this giant chase where Mario's flying around as a raccoon with a giant bullet bill chasing him. So Mario's idea is well, I can't outrun this, and I don't want it to hit anything here. I want to protect the Mushroom Kingdom. So he starts flying back towards the same pipe that he came out of from his world. So he goes to the pipe, escapes through the pipe, the bullet bill hits the pipe, blows the pipe up, and all of a sudden this energy comes out and starts this trans-dimensional energy starts sucking everything in this giant vortex. So everyone gets pulled in, and suddenly Mario is laying in the middle of the street back in Brooklyn. Bowser's giant fortress is in the sky over Brooklyn, and their worlds have essentially merged. So Mario's family is now looking out into the street and seeing I forgot one important part, which is that before Mario goes and attacks the bullet bill, Bowser has brought all those people in the cages in the lava to the wedding because he's going to dunk them into the lava and kill them as a sacrifice for his wedding.
Which is how all good marriages start. Yeah.
Yes.
My parents sacrificed 2 kegs of those beers with the weird peel off tabs.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. 70s.
Yes.
They had sex in the 70s. It's disgusting. Mm-hmm. Don't bring it up again. Me.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So Bowser's got a whole plan, and Mario's merged the worlds by flying into by having the bullet bomb build the bomb, chase him into the transport thing.
But immediately before he does that, he flies over and rescues Luigi from the cage. So
okay.
Yeah, I realized I forgot to mention that because obviously in Brooklyn it's Mario and Luigi laying in the street. So if I hadn't said that part, I'd be like, well, how did Luigi get there? But that's essentially how that happened.
Is Luigi now ready to throw down, or is he tired and sad and sick from being malnourished and being in prison and unfairly?
He looks pretty much the same, okay. But he feels more confident now because he's back with his brother. Their strength is that they're together and they have that fraternal bond,
and that he's taller.
Yes. So they're in the middle of the street, and their family is actually in a building above, looking down, like, "Oh my gosh, it's Mario and Luigi."
It's a wee family-o.
Yeah, and they're like, "What is going on? Why are there fireballs everywhere? What is this giant Koopa? What is this?" And all that kind of thing. So anyway, Bowser
the guy from Up is wiping the last tear from his wife's face. It's her final moment of life vacates her cancer-stricken body caused by Mario and Luigi's bad plumbing.
Yeah. So
In my version of the movie. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when the fortress comes to the pipe, there's this, an incident happens where the star that Bowser had captured flings out of his possession and goes flying down the street. And Bowser is furious. He's yelling at Mario, "You ruined my wedding. You've ruined everything. Now I will kill you." As Bowser does.
Healthy reaction.
So, yeah. So he is going down, and he's actually punching Mario like it looks like Iron Man getting hit. He flies back and smashes into the windshield of a parked car in the middle. It's brutal. Mario can take a beating though, so he should be dead, but he's taking these hits like a champ.
Well, he is Italian. I don't know what that means. That's like a weird. I don't know. That's not a real stereotype.
Yeah. So all this goes down, and eventually Mario and Luigi manage to get to the location of the star. They touch the star, and at this point, you figure out what the star does. So right after they touch it, Bowser comes in and I think just hits him with a powerful. I think it's a punch. And as the smoke clears, you find out that the punch did nothing because Mario and Luigi are just standing side by side in this heroic pose, and they've got the star power up, like iridescent, multicolor rainbow pattern going over them. Which from the games, you know that when you pick up like a little tiny star, you become immune. It's like you know that.
Keep going. Let's do it together. No, you and me.
That's all I got.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, very good.
James, James, you played along. You graduated from Improv 101.
Yes.
You're not ready. Here's your light. Here's your lightsaber. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So they've got that power.
They're on
Bowser's,
drugs. Yes, they've done DMT.
Very much. Yeah, so they basically do this big punch. They knock him into the sky. They fly up into the sky. They come bashing down, both in unison, glowing with power with their feet. They do a drop kick on him, blast him down through his fortress. His fortress explodes. And before that, to get him into the sky, they actually grab him by the tail and swing him around, just like from Mario 64, launch him into the sky. So he's just getting flung around like a rag doll.
That must be pretty satisfying to see the the bully finally getting what he deserves.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is that right before Mario gets the star, he gets punched and he's getting pummeled by Bowser. So he gets knocked in, and he's in this hiding in this electronics store. And on a cracked screen next to him is his commercial playing. And then he starts remembering that all he ever wanted to do was save Brooklyn, be the savior of Brooklyn, and yet he feels like he's the one who's brought destruction on Brooklyn. So that kind of motivates him to get back out there and to risk everything to save the city that he loves and to save his family and so forth. And that's when he goes out, gets to the star, and then starts kicking butt. So at the very end, Bowser is incapacitated, and they run up to him and they force one of those little tiny blue mushrooms into his mouth, and they shrink him down into a little tiny mini Bowser and put him in a cage.
Oh, I thought, so Bowser gets small. For some reason, I was picturing Mario getting really small and then reenacting the scene from The Boys, the guy who shrinks down very small, and he's inside the other person's, let's just call it a reproductive organ. That's one of the more disturbing sequences that I wish I hadn't remembered or made my audience remember. But The Boys, I can't wait for that next season to come out. All right, go ahead. But instead, Bowser's now tiny and in a cage.
Right, and they do this little callback thing because when Mario and Peach are first kind of meeting together, and Mario is describing his world, Brooklyn, to Peach, he says something like, "Oh yeah, over there, turtles don't try and kill you. We have turtles as pets. The next time, if you ever visit me in Brooklyn, I'll buy you a turtle." So once Bowser is really tiny, he makes a joke and says, "Hey, I told you I'd give you a pet turtle when you got back to Brooklyn," referring to Bowser.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, so his family, who prior to this was always kind of doubting him and keeping him down, is now like, "Oh, our sons are the best. It's the Mario and Luigi. They saved Brooklyn. They're amazing." Yeah. So it's like this big redemption arc and all that. So
we are going to avoid elder poverty because our children became famous online. The only path towards not dying in severe languishing and severe society-induced poverty. Mario.
Yeah, So right around the very end, it's basically Mario and Luigi waking up into a happier world, getting their plumbing gear together, and then going out the door to start a new day. And then you find out they're not in Brooklyn; they're both in the Mushroom Kingdom. So it's almost as though they decided to go back and live in the Mushroom Kingdom,
I
which is a
see.
little bit weird because their whole dream was to save Brooklyn and go back home. So why would they do that? I don't know, but
Well, they had a
that's kind of
taste,
where they left
man.
it.
They had a taste of the other side. They got to see what it's like being around all the all the magic stuff and the cool
Yeah,
mushroom people
but
and
there's
the
no
and the
plumbing
and
problems.
Well,
It's like, well, I mean, your specialty is plumbing, so you leave a world that has constant plumbing problems and go to a kingdom where plumbing doesn't really have there's
yeah,
pipes, but they're used for transport.
right. Yeah, these are mushrooms. They are plumbing. They just suck up
Yeah,
nutrients from whatever they touch and then they release their spores into the air. Yeah, they
yeah,
don't really
it's
need
like
green pipes like
it's
us
like
us
you're
mammals.
yeah, it's like being a knee surgeon and choosing to live in a kingdom with creatures that have no legs. It just doesn't
Yeah. Yeah,
make a
that's
whole
like
lot of sense.
it's like being a knee surgeon and living in the elbow kingdom.
Exactly.
Wait,
Well,
but
yeah,
maybe their skill isn't plumbing. Maybe it's being awesome and kicking ass and saving the planet and pushing through when things are at their darkest and having the hero spirit rise up in them through the power of not just their own inner beliefs, which they doubted at
whoa,
times, but also the fact that they had community and support behind them to help each other out because true
yeah,
strength comes from backing each other up.
your bees
Maybe
are under
that's their
attack.
real skill. My bees are under attack?
Yes, skeletons are shooting
Motherfucker.
arrows at your bees.
I almost died in that fall. Who's shooting arrows at my bees? I had two. I almost called them elephants. I'll get you. I'll get you. I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna beat you up straight up. Oh, actually, I'm probably gonna get myself killed here for the entertainment. Go ahead, James. Keep going. I'm handling it. These guys
Okay,
are
so
nothing.
that's pretty much it. It basically ends with Bowser at a piano. He's singing the same song, his opining for Peach,
Oh,
and then it gets cut short by Toad coming in and revealing that he's still tiny. He's still in a little bird cage, and he shakes the cage and tells him to shut up. And then you can hear Bowser's real voice is this little pipsqueak, high pitched voice. Credits
okay.
roll, and then the after credit scene is just basically a scene of a Yoshi egg hatching. So it basically tells you, yeah, there's probably
Yeah,
going to be a sequel, and Yoshi's going to be in it.
they got more ideas. They got a whole probably thing going on for producing more movies. Must be
Yeah.
exciting when you
So,
do a project like this because it's like a huge cultural institution.
oh
And
yeah,
whether they screw it up is like a big deal. Just to freak out over the casting of what is Chris, what's his face, the Velociraptor guy.
oh
Um,
Chris Pratt, yeah,
yeah, like I just remember when that came out and everybody was like, "Oh my god!" It's like this. Like consumers are so ready to have meltdowns over stuff like this. But
yeah.
the fact that they pulled it off, it sounds like must be like really um satisfying for the people who did that. Meaning like, oh,
Oh,
good, we're gonna have jobs
absolutely.
for the next 7 years.
Yeah, and I think it was done by the studio Illumination, which is the same studio that did Minions. And I mean, it was bright, colorful. It was just visually stunning in most cases. So yeah, I think this does kind of set the bars. Like, well, now that we've proven that we can do a Mario movie, what about a Super Metroid movie? What about a Zelda movie or a series of movies? There's
Wow.
Nintendo has a very rich catalog to pull from. So if they really want to start going Hollywood with this stuff, I think this could be the start of a Nintendo cinematic universe.
Oh my god! And then they link it all together with the what's the fighting game?
Oh, I was about to say that the one thing that they didn't really well, I mean, I guess you could say that during the Donkey Kong fight, maybe that they were trying to reference some of that, but Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, but is that's sort of the universe? That's the one format where they all kind of come together, right? Or then they could
Yeah,
weave
oh yeah.
stories around that. Maybe that could be like the Mortal Kombat thing where Goro shows up and starts ripping their bodies in half like a phone book.
Yeah, because Super Smash Brothers actually transcends the Nintendo realm because you've got Sephiroth and I'm not a
Kirby,
big Smash. Well, Kirby is a Nintendo property, but Sephiroth was not. He's from Final Fantasy VII, as you know,
of course.
which was a Sony property, I believe, or a Square Enix property, more to be more precise.
Indeed.
But yeah, There's a lot of room for growth. There's a lot of future potential. Yeah, I think that this was as good a starting point for Nintendo movies as you could possibly get.
Yeah. Was there any product placement besides Mario?
But not that I recall. I
Uh-huh.
don't. Yeah, I don't think there really was anything like that.
No, like Reese's Pieces or something, or did they bonk ET on the head? That'd have been funny. ET pokes his
No,
head up, and then smashes him in the face with a hammer.
in the very beginning, and I can't quite remember. It might have been like Kid Icarus or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but when Mario is at the dinner table in Brooklyn at the very beginning, and his family's making fun of him, say for starting his own business and not having any clients yet, he just kind of gets up from the table and excuses himself to go to his room because he's sad that they're not being supportive of him, and he's just sitting in the dark on his bed playing a video game console, which I think was Kid Icarus, but I could be wrong. But it looked like a Nintendo game.
Yeah, I would imagine it'd be weird if he was playing a Sega, Sega.
Yeah,
CD game or
Sonic
something.
or
Yeah, or like I'm trying to think of that one with the first time there was like video in games. It was like the early '90s. I think it was Sega CD. It was like, I remember being at a toy
Oh,
store.
you mean FMV?
I don't know. It was a military sort of thing, military commander coming out of a tank talking to the camera. But it was like early '90s video in a game. I remember seeing some.
Oh yeah,
at a toy
yeah.
store.
Yeah,
Go
that's
ahead.
FMV, and it probably had like those scan lines all over it where
Oh,
you
yeah,
could barely. Yeah,
Yeah, it would have been like a couple steps up from ASCII 2 or whatever that is. Is that we're supposed
yeah,
to say that? But I remember being at a toy store seeing that, and some guy's like, "Wow, whatever happened to Pong?" It was just
yeah,
like, the shit just advances forward relentlessly
yeah. I
until
think the
we
first time.
use too much electricity to kill the planet.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, the first time I ever saw that, I think, was a Night Watch. I never owned it, but I saw like screenshots of it. I think that was Sega CD.
Yeah, was Phantasmagoria Sega CD? That was like a really
Oh,
first like
now,
a major
yeah,
touchstone
and
for including video into games, right?
yes, it had exactly that same type of video, but Phantasmagoria was exclusive to the PC.
And
But
did you
I
play that?
definitely, I played through that a
Good.
1,000 times.
Oh man, we ought to get back to our roots. Maybe that would be fun.
I
It'd be fun to do like
uh,
old games.
I love that game. It's
Yeah,
so hokey looking back at it
of
today because
course. Yeah,
but Zoltan and I forgot what was Adrian was the name of the woman, and Dan I think was the name of the husband who goes crazy, and the guillotine scene at the end, and the demon and the book and oh my god, great
James's
game.
brain is just like a mushroom releasing spores, and right now, just like we opened up
Yeah,
the file for Phantasmagoria. Yeah,
I love that.
I don't recall. Even if I had played it, I definitely wouldn't remember it because my brain doesn't work like that. It doesn't have memories in the ways that other people's does.
Yeah,
Do Mist was a huge one though too. Mist and Riven were both also like paramount moments in that era too. Of
oh
like,
yeah.
wow, look at this! You could stare at a library shelf for 400 fucking hours and not know what to do next. Turn the telescope. Turn the telescope. You turn the fucking telescope, Mist. Fuck you. I don't know where the key is. You
Yeah,
unlock the
Mist
safe.
Mist was
So
really cool for
frustrating.
2 reasons, because it was the first game that I found out that you could just go to your D drive after you put the CD in and open up the disc and go to a certain folder and double click a QuickTime file, and it will play the ending of the game for you. So I was like, oh, so I don't even need to, all this effort I've been putting into, I don't need to worry about. And I think there was even an exploit glitch that they didn't find before they released the game, where you could, from the very start of the game, before you do anything, you could essentially run to the final dock, open like a post in the dock, find the final white page, and then the ending of the game would trigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I had a whole notebook just filled with clues and notes and puzzle solutions and things. This was before the internet, so you couldn't really cheat.
Oh
You
yeah.
had to earn it.
Or you had to like get magazines that maybe had some clues or something like that, and
Yep.
all that shit. Yeah, I had a buddy that was all into it. He had all these like little drawings and different like flow charts of which direction you could turn if you tried, because he was really trying to solve things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Yeah, okay, so back to Mario though. God, playing some of those old games, those are really those are something. Oh fuck, I drank it. I didn't mean to drink it. It's my lighting. I just drank the stage lighting. Back to Mario. So your review now. Bowser ends up being their pet. They feed him after midnight. He turns into basically becomes a Mogwai, and no, I don't know, but satisfying arc, nice emotional journey for Mario and his brother. Sounds like.
Yeah. I don't think there's any kid who's going to walk in and see that movie and not walk out excited and happy that they saw it. It delivers exactly what you would want. Very fast, colorful, bombastic, bright, fast-paced, quick to the action, jokes that kids would understand, references from the game that they would pick up on. Anyone who comes out of that movie and says, "Nah, perhaps the third act was not quite as good. I did not feel there was an arc, that the through line was not met, that the characters did not develop and grow over time. This
Right.
is not reminiscent of the hero's journey, the hero with 1,000 faces." Screw all that. It's like
Screw all
there's a
that.
time and a place for that where that does apply to most movies, and usually I try and judge movies based on that. How good was the journey? How developed was the story? This is not one of those movies that you judge along those lines. This is a visual video game, a non-interactive cutscene, essentially.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. A very highly produced cutscene with Hollywood actors. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. When people bring that attitude into these things, like I get it if you get bored. I get it if you're like, I just kind of lost track of. I just couldn't. I had to look at Facebook. I just lost track of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's fine. I get that. I wouldn't begrudge that. But trying to like hold it up to the cinema greats. I love those cinema people that know all like the French directors or whatever the fuck, and they named different things. And every once in a while, I've always kind of fashioned myself an aspiring snob in that way, and I've always hoped to be able to load up all that info. But I would only do it if it was like The Matrix, where I didn't have to actually put in all the work watching all these fucking terrible movies to know who all those people are. But like occasionally I watch these YouTube videos that are like guys are like, cinema changes your soul. That's the whole point of cinema, to be challenged and surprised. And we're going to look at this scene here from this movie. And sometimes those are interesting from like editor, like where there's a couple that break down how editing works in movies. Actually, there's some pretty good content creators on YouTube that do stuff that's good. But boy, man, I really my eyes can't roll fast enough when I step closer to that thing. Even though I think there's actually some legitimate like knowledge to be shared from that stuff.
Right.
It just always seems packaged in a pill that nobody wants to swallow.
Right. And that's why I always liked Roger Ebert and how he approached his reviews, because he wasn't like a lot of reviewers who reviewed everything using this, painting it with the same brush. He would say, I'm going to rate and judge this movie based on how well it accomplished what it set out to execute. So if he's watching a campy comedy, he's going to judge it and rate it out of 5 stars or whatever his scale was, based on how well it accomplished that goal, not how it would fare against The Godfather or something like that.
Yeah, his scale was 2 thumbs.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He had he was the
Either,
guy in the balcony with the thumbs. 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down. Yeah.
Or one.
I was thinking of Leonard Maltin is the one who did the stars.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah. I don't know who invented this. Yeah, the Stars is definitely an old classic. Yes, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. But Roger Ebert was a really a good writer too. He has a lot of like really thoughtful essays and stuff, and he's a pretty respected guy from what I hear.
He was exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Right on, man. Any other movies that you've seen recently though that jumped out that you thought were interesting or that maybe worth mentioning?
Just I have not seen a lot of movies lately. I
Barbarian.
saw
James and I watched. What'd you watch? John Wick 4?
Chapter 4. Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you like it? Did he shoot somebody?
Yeah, it's
without hesitating.
Yeah,
big fucking deal. John Wick is boring.
Yeah, it was a fun ride, but it was very, very long, and it was exhausting to watch. And at a certain point, I guess my problem with John Wick is that there are 1,000 opportunities throughout all of those movies for the villain or any random bad guy to kill John. But instead, they'll get like right behind him with a gun, and instead of just shooting him in the back of the head, they'll hit him with the butt of the gun, and then they get into this big fight. It's like, is he immortal in the sense that he just has overwhelming luck that nobody wants to kill him when they have the chance to? Or, what's the deal?
Well, he's the main character in the movie, and if he gets murdered or if he gets killed in the first like 15 minutes, then you got a pretty short film, and they want to do a 95-minute movie. Like movies, I totally know what you mean. Like it's the aiming thing. Like when you're like, I'm watching Picard, which I'm really enjoying. Season 3 is a big step up from 1 and 2. Although I did like 2 as well. Oh, that's another thing I'd like to talk about on this channel at some point, or maybe on my other channel, was Winners and Losers, where I'm trying to do more stuff. But it's like there's a whole shootout sequence where just like none of you people can hit anybody. You're all missing. You always know that like the main characters are maybe they'll wound one if they kill one. No, not this isn't just about Picard. It's like in general, it's a big deal. So it's like I get like from the writer's perspectives why that's the case, but I just wish there would be a movie where they're like really accurately and well like realistically doing something where someone actually gets injured and killed, and they don't have the worst aim possible with the most futuristic laser weapons. I know that's a cliche kind of complaint, but like every movie should be if someone gets punched, it's like recovering for 2 or 3 weeks from that really hard punch to the face that fucked them up and set their, like getting punched is a traumatizing thing. Just put some purple makeup on your face. Well, boxers, I mean, they practice. They know what it feels like. But most people getting punched would be like, "Oh, my fucking face hurts now," and that should be like the next 2 hours of the movie. Can you believe I got punched? Look at my eye; it's all swollen. My lip hurts. Anyway, go ahead, James.
Oh no, that's all I got.
I don't remember what I was saying. John Wick though, did it hold up though as compared to the other entertainment value of the other John Wicks? I mean, it's a beloved.
No,
it
did. It was a fun watch, but there's just Keanu Reeves is not the youngest guy in the world anymore. So there's all these scenes where he's like rolling on the ground and putting people into headlocks and things. But when he's on the ground and he's doing that, he's moving so slowly. And it's almost like when you see Hollywood movies where a big guy comes up behind you and throws a punch, but you can tell the stunt guy's throwing a punch just slow enough, waiting for your arm to catch it.
Yeah.
It just... there were a lot of times where you could just see the choreography instead of seeing the fight.
Right. Yeah, and you can feel those achy bones. You can just feel the achy bones in the old man. He's obviously in better shape than I am. I'm not trying to judge.
Oh, yeah.
But
it was still a spectacle. It was still, over the top fun, but it was just, I'd say it was probably like half an hour just too long. It was like, come on, how many times can I watch him do the same move and shoot the same guy in the face after blocking his punch, kicking him, and rolling through glass?
Yeah.
It just happens over and over and over and over. But
is he doing some daylight murders, or is it mostly like nightclub scenes inside dark interiors?
There is a dark interior nightclub scene. Actually, I think there's 2 of those. There's like a dance club, and then there's a continental hotel fight with guys attacking in body armor. There's a whole nighttime Champs-Élysées type fight in France. It's there's a Sacré-Cœur fight. It's just everywhere they go. It's just massive battles.
Ah, quelle surprise! Il y a un homme de France ici.
Yeah, a lot of France stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So he's in France. All right. Yeah, it's fine. We don't have to go on and on about that. I just realized though, Wick, that's a good name because it's like wick of a fuse. He's like ready to blow. I didn't realize that's probably very intentional. Like his rival should be named Dave Fuse. Dave Fuse.
Do you know? It's funny though because the theater that I was in played a whole bunch of commercials before the movie started, and I'm not talking like movie trailers. I mean, they did do some movie trailers, but these were actually like product commercials, which I wasn't really used to. And you know what? One commercial they played like 5 times while we were waiting for the movie to start.
ShamWow for blood.
No, Airwick. I was like, is this a coincidence?
Not a coincidence. No, those are all happening on purpose. What is that? Is that the wall smell thing?
Yeah,
puts chemicals in your
little
air?
plug-in air freshener. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, the corporation's got to store their chemicals somewhere. Might as well put them in your body. I don't know if that stuff is. Not saying
maybe
it's
it could be the spin-off like Air Bud thing where he quits being an assassin and goes into basketball. He becomes Airwick.
Yeah, but then he just murders other dogs.
Well, he's not a dog.
Well, Air Bud's a dog. Kevin?
No, I'm saying like Air Bud, he plays basketball.
Oh, I see.
He doesn't transform into a dog.
I thought you meant Air Bud, the golden retriever, becomes like a John Wick character.
Oh no, I meant John Wick hangs up his guns and starts playing children's basketball.
Yeah, basically, becomes a hoopster. Not that the dog becomes a murder. A vengeance. Like Air Bud as Air Wick would start with its owner. It's like the reverse. It's like the inverse of John Wick. So the dog's owner, who he loves, it gets killed, and that's what sets him, because that's how John Wick all starts, with the dog getting killed. Well, it's,
Yeah.
the dog is also the stand-in for the the life he had with his wife. It was his final connection
Mhm.
to the soulmate that he lost.
Or Helen.
Which
Yeah.
and violence is always the answer to grief. Of course, that's also the message of John Wick.
Yeah.
Very
And
American.
the
And
funny thing about go ahead.
no, I was just imagining a dog murdering lots of dogs. So that's not
Yeah.
necessarily something we need to go on about.
Yeah. The other funny thing is the movie's very long, but every time John Wick speaks, it's in very short sentences or single words. It's like a guy comes up to him and does this big monologue. He's like, John, where are you? You know that the high table will not allow you to live. You can't get out, John. You know that, right, John?" And then he just looks at me and goes, "Yeah," and then he starts fighting.
And then starts fighting. Yeah. Well, he's a man of few words, lots of bullets.
Yep.
That's the kind of guy every aspiring male should aspire to become.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood, he was he kind of started that pattern, the very seldom spoken hero.
Yeah. Internalized trauma, and then comes out the
Mhm.
barrel of a gun. Yeah, I get it. Go ahead, rake my grave. I don't know. That's something if he were dead. Yeah. All right. So we saw Barbarian. I know James and I watched that one evening past a couple of fortnights ago. More than that. That's the one where the spoilers here, everybody. They find a lady goes into a house and there's freaky stuff. It's an Airbnb.
Yeah,
It's all coming back.
Did we do a podcast about
No,
that?
no. That would be a good one. Maybe we'll do that separately or something.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
we did, but maybe
Probably. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I have no idea. Any movies coming out this year that are big or shows that are coming up or games even? I know that there's I'm excited about Starfield. That's Fallout in space. It's made by Bethesda. I think that's September release. So I would love that's one of those games that's just like right in my heart, right? That's just like an arrow of love straight into the aorta,
not. Yep.
which is
I
not in the
mean,
heart. That's part of the. That's how. Stop talking, Hank. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's nothing that's on my radar right now. I haven't really been looking too closely, but I've been kind of playing a lot of like little multiplayer games with friends, like indie developed stuff. And if anyone's listening to this, which I don't know if anyone will be, but
They
I
will.
would say, there's a game called Dredge. I had a lot of fun with that little indie game, like Lovecraftian fishing simulator horror. Very unique, very fun, worthy of the money spent on it. Well, if you play it, it'll probably take you less than a week to beat it, but very well worth the experience.
Okay. Kind of low resi graphics, a little like Valheim,
Yeah,
sort of.
yeah, kind
Yeah.
of like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
it just the world feels great. The movement is great. The gameplay is great. It's just a fantastic time.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah. If everybody wants to check out me playing more Valheim and doing some podcasting, kind of, I'm trying to build up on winners and losers a bit more. And we're gonna put some more things on Suckprofessor too, although don't expect a lot. Just these kind of occasional rambly things here. But I'm trying to put out content and stuff. If you want to help out, or if you want to take a look at patreon.com/winners and losers to see what I've been up to. I talk a lot about autism. If you're curious about that, that's kind of an interesting story. Maybe if people have their own perceptions of it, but I had no idea what it was until I found out I was autistic last year. So it's been kind of a discovery thing for me. But also doing my bullshit lefty rambling and news stuff as well. And having regular collapses of energy because I'm overwhelmed and burnt out completely. But yeah, that's fine. Help keep watching though, everybody. We really appreciate it. Oh, James, Final Fantasy 7 or they're doing remakes or no 16. What's the deal with that? What's coming up? I know that you were talking about that the other day.
No, I just said I saw a very brief clip from a trailer. People were going crazy for it. People seem to be very excited for it. It looks like a much more action-packed version of Final Fantasy that we've seen before.
But
so, yeah, I know very, very little about it, but it's something I'm trying to keep some tabs on, reading up about to see if it's something I might want to dive into.
Because you're a big fan of that series, Jean, what's it called? Oeuvre property. You love the whole series. You were a big hit like over all the years. But the last two Final Fantasies, what 14 and 15, or what at 15 and 16?
Yeah,
those are sort of like Well, aren't you like aren't there all that kind of product placement and stuff where like you have to
Yeah,
drink like name brand noodles to regain your health and stuff?
yeah. I was a fan of the Super Nintendo Final Fantasies,
Yeah.
the 16-bit sprite version with turn-based combat. I
Hmm.
love that kind of stuff. I am not a big fan of exactly what you said, where you have this group of young boys traveling around in a car with like early 90s Green Day style spiky haircuts, giant swords on their back, telling cringeworthy quips and
Right.
it's yeah, not using Coleman stoves and and doing commercials for ramen noodles. It's just that is not my speed.
But literally like Coleman, so like literally name brand items are part of
Yes,
the game progression.
yeah, it forces you to pass time and to go through cutscenes where you camp out so that you can. And it's been a year since I played it, so I don't remember a lot of it. But the whole
Yeah.
time is you're zoomed in on the chairs you're sitting in, and there's Coleman logos on the tents on the chairs everywhere.
Ah. Ugh. So this new one though seems like a departure. They might have finally
Yeah,
listened to their audience, or they're moving away from that kind of thing, and maybe it'll be
yeah.
a next evolution, kind of like
It's still the same combat scheme though, where it's where you're doing combos. It's like what they did with Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Final Fantasy VII was originally turn based, and then when they did the remake of it, which was fun, it's a much more active button mashing combo, switching characters, cooldown skill type thing. So you're not in a menu selecting. I mean, you are in a certain case, but you're actually going in and taking more active control over your character than you did historically.
got it.
And I kind of miss the whole turn-based thing, but I get how this is the evolution of turn-based combat.
Yeah, sure, no doubt. Yeah, it'd be too much of a departure if they changed it completely.
Yeah,
So yeah, hopefully they innovate
there's
on that.
just yeah, I would say that just like from a when you take your 16-bit game with your little character sprites and your text-based, no voice acting, you can have absurd scenarios, but it doesn't feel absurd because it doesn't feel like reality.
Yeah,
But when you have games that have like photorealistic CGI characters in it with advanced facial animations and things of that nature, and they're going through these same sort of absurd quests. It's like, okay, first, my job is to go into town and deliver tea to Auntie to get 50 XP so I can buy my training sword. And then 50 hours later, you're flying through space in a battle with God to save the Yudadudu crystal. It feels as really. It's like,
yeah,
is this I don't know. It just doesn't feel the same. It's
of
like this is
course.
a little bit weird.
Yeah, can we get some dead puppies around here so we can experience some actual proper motivation and stuff like John Wick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Finally, there's a new Zelda game on the way, right? Isn't that imminent?
Oh,
Isn't
this what Tears of Heaven or Tears of something?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
mean it
think
looks
it's.
really cool. I
But
saw a trailer for it.
is it a whole new game, or is it like some kind of weird spin-offy game? Is it like a whole nother edition?
Oh, completely new game. Yeah, and the kind of cool thing about it is that it looks like they're implementing like Gary's mod style gameplay into it, which is really interesting.
You have to
I think
explain
people are
that.
gonna have a lot.
What's that mean?
Gary's mod. This it's a Half-Life 2 mod that is officially supported by Steam. You can go and download it, but essentially it allows you to use the assets from that game to build rudimentary machines. You can take a couch, you can put thrusters on it and wheels on it, and increase the size of the thrusters and have it fly into the sky. So it's sort of like that. You can build your own flying machines, water traversing machines, and things in the game by assembling different components.
Which really then adds a lot of design challenges, or at least creates a whole different way that they'll have to design the levels. Because even though the game's open world, they're still very limited into where you're allowed to go, right? Like it feels open world. It's huge. It's really fun to run around and climb the trees and look for stuff. So they like, and that's kind of true of all open world games, right? But when you really open things up with like player creations, you have to accommodate that with design changes, right?
Yeah.
So that sounds great, though. I mean, they that sounds really cool. And will that be available on Steam?
No.
How do I
It's a
play it?
Nintendo
It's on
exclusive.
Switch?
Oh yeah, it's a Nintendo. It's Zelda. It's owned by Nintendo.
But is there Nintendo's out? Is Switch the Nintendo?
Yeah, currently that's the most recent Nintendo console. Yes.
And can you play that on a TV? Like, can you hook it
Yes.
up and run it to your TV?
Oh yeah,
there you go.
absolutely. You basically just dock the Switch into the cradle and it goes to the TV with a higher resolution.
Okay, so it's basically just like a giant, nice. Is it like a good phone? It's like the amount of computing power doesn't have to be like a PC. You don't need or within the Switch. I know I sound like a
No,
total idiot right now. I
no,
understand.
it's just amazing. I mean, the Switch is not a powerhouse of a console, but what they can squeeze out of it with a highly optimized game like the
Yeah.
Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and this new one coming up is just really incredible.
So, do people play Switch with James? Let me ask you real quick. Can you get up in your character here and go blow something up in the obliterator behind us for the camera shot, and then we'll say goodbye to our fans and viewers.
Okay.
Just whatever you have in
Alright.
your just your wood or something. Doesn't
Oh, I got
matter.
plenty. Yeah.
Just whatever
Okay.
you got. This will look cool from this angle. So the Switch, do people play it with the hand controller things, or do people mostly use it for their like television? Is it, do you get what I'm saying? Like, do people use the form factor for which it's designed, like in bed on their?
Oh
close?
yeah, I think so. I mean,
Okay.
it really all comes down to personal preference. I
Okay.
tend to not like to play things on the handheld version. I'm always got mine attached to the television, but
Yeah, that's how I would
it's
probably. But I could see myself getting one and then just laying in bed all the time and never getting out of bed and just playing Zelda on the Switch.
yeah.
So light it up, baby. Hit it.
All right, I've got a bunch of items in it right now.
Oh, just
and
yeah, you can one at a time, whatever. But yeah, okay, go ahead. This
I'm
is cool.
looking for the. There it is.
The game allows you to destroy items with this device. I'm not moving the. Yes, boom. Let's do a couple more if you don't mind. Oh, the light.
I put all my stuff in there, but I'll throw something else.
Go ahead, just a piece of wood. You can pick up a rock, any item. There's a whole bunch of skeleton parts if you want.
All right,
Do one
there
at
you
a
go.
time. All right, I just want to see this. Boom! All right, one more. I just want to look up while it happens. I so want to have multiple camera angles when I'm playing this game, because like when you're destroying the trees and stuff, I think it would look cool to see it from far away. Go ahead and hit it whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, it starts from the bottom and goes up. Nice. That is so cool. I love the way it lights up this area. I fucking love this game. It tickles my 3D spatial brain so perfectly. Everybody, that's partially why I'm building out this massive compound of stuff. So if you want to see me play some more of this, check out Winners and Losers. There'll be a link in the description. I'm gonna do actually a recording right after this and do some more here, and just so put out another video of it this week. I'm not doing like every single little moment. I'm still sort of just floundering through my. Oh, there it goes. It leaves like a circle. That's so cool. I kind of wish it did different colors for different items and stuff. It'd be cool if they mix that up a little bit, but that's not upsetting me or something. But yeah, I've been really just enjoying playing Valheim here. The mix of exploration and building is just really nice. Of course, I use my map differently than James. All these white dots freaks him out. I have to go get some wolves and some stuff. That's our next sort of area, but I've mostly just been enjoying building out stuff. I had a tragedy happen over here at my pig farm. We got destroyed. We got messed up. So, all right, James, thank you very much. I hope people appreciate your perspective on the Mario movie. I certainly do, and as always, I love you.
Okie dokie.
Do you not love me? Do you feel love? You don't have to say it, but do you feel it?
Do I feel love?
You sound
What
like
is
Data.
this emotion you speak of?
Activate emotion chip, James.
Yes.
I know you love me, James, because you put up with my bullshit. Why are you naked? Oh my God, you're a sinner.
No,
James-
because here's my corpse right here. See? That's
What?
me.
How did you die? Why is there a
I
corpse?
decided to eat. I wanted to eat some lightning.
You can die from this?
Oh yeah, if you stand on it and call down lightning, you get destroyed.
Your legs are crossed. Look at how your guy died. That's so
Yeah.
funny.
It's usually a corpse doesn't stay around that long, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was great. That's funny. Yeah, I suppose it does make sense that you would get zapped by the gigantic bolt of lightning.
Yeah, I had
yeah.
I had like 85, 90 health at the time, and it just drained it.
Wow, that's something.
That's what I was hoping for.
Sure. Yeah. That's okay. We did it. That's okay. That's good. All right. Yeah, it's hard for me to finish these, but thank you for watching, everybody. If you're in Los Angeles, you're a nice person and you want a cat, let me know. I'm about to start listing her online, So I don't know. I just this cat. We have to finish the good deed. We did a good deed feeding this girl, this little stray. I don't think she's up. She's not up on our thing. And we brought her in and thought maybe, oh my God, because you hear that like, oh, I have this cat and I just need all that love I get from the cat, and I'm not wired for that. I don't feel the love right now. I just get distracted and irritated because it's stressful and I can't afford it too, and it's just she needs a better home. So we're finishing the good deed by finding her a forever home, and she's a fucking awesome cat too. She really is kind of like one of those cats you're like, man, I'm really glad I got this one. Because a lot of cats suck. A lot of cats are just boring or weird or, impossible. This cat has a lot of charming features about her. People keep saying she's beautiful. And I'm like, that's a little aggressive for a fucking animal. Call her breathtaking, okay? Idiots. So there you go, everybody. Come on over to Winners and Losers. We'll work on the factory farm and some adventuring. And James will keep tabs on the video game scene in the children's movies that are coming up, and come back and tell us about them.
Next
James?
up, Peppa Pig.
Next up, Mommy and Daddy no longer love each other. A book for children.
And it's your fault.
and why it's your fault. Brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi, the solution to childhood divorce.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Bye, everybody. We're going to murder dudes. Bye. Wave bye, James.